Hello, all, and thank you for being here. Well, I have to tell you that this is my first time talking in front of people and in front of such a good community as Hashtag this year, the 15th anniversary. I am Ernest Marza, and I'm from Spain. I work as a quality assurance tester at Kibim, and yeah, keep fighting since 1995. So, some months ago, when I was working my previous company, I was thinking about a challenge that the QAs have day by day, which is sometimes explaining technical results and technical information to non-technical people. And it's like when you try to explain something that you know like 100% because you saw it and you are a really good tester. But you need to sell that information, for example, for your CEO or your client. And this is tough. This is tough because they know about the business, they know about the money, but sometimes they don't know about the technical part that it really make an impact and it really make a change. So for explaining that, I just prepared a visual analogy that I call the 3 balls analogy. Here in this such a nice room with a train and so on, let's imagine that the people that is seated on the first row are QA, as I am, and probably as you are, and people from the last row are like the client. And I'm going to, I know, it's just time after lunch, probably all your blood is on your stomach, you don't want to think a lot, but it's an easy question. I want to know, I want to ask you, people from the last row, which differences can you see between these 2 balls? It's an easy question, and anyone can answer. It's the color, right? There are spheres, and they are the same. If you are not looking at it's the color, please, we can talk backwards. And now I'm going to do the same question, but please don't answer just the people on the last rows. Which differences can you see? Probably it's difficult. And you can say they are the same ball, probably same behavior. I'm going to ask people from the first row, which differences can you see here? The shape, size, the structure, right? Yeah. So what we have here are similar but different. One of the balls have honeycomb pattern, and the other has triangular pattern. I bought a 3D printer. Yeah, I am printing things like that. So it's the same sphere, it's the same material, but it is the same structure. It is a different structure, so it's a different behavior. So the QAs, people from the first row, know that it's something completely different. But probably the client who is seated on the last row thinks it's the same. So in that case, we need to explain something that is technical. For example, if we want that ball to support some pressure, maybe it's better the honeycomb, maybe it's better the triangular. We need that expertise, and we need to convince the client to make an impact. OK. So what may seem, well, good luck with that, similar to non-technical people, it's radically different for us. We need to communicate better, but it's not always easy. So this is the topic of the talk. The current problem is that we have classic performance tests that produces classical results, right? Complete but highly complex results, and make our clients, stakeholders, and advisors really, really dizzy because they don't understand them or they don't have to. They know about the logic, about the business, about their product, but they should not know about the technical issues, for example, in the cloud. But there is a solution from confusion to clarity. So, and as you can see here, there is our client who is dizzy and say, oh, that's why. I propose that solution. Yeah, it seems very complex because we will have like a web gallery. We are going to do a performance test. Then we are going to use machine learning from results cleaner with isolation forest. Then we are going to study with LLMs. But do not worry. Are you still dizzy? Then let's go step by step. And I want to introduce you what the workflow overflow is for non-technicals. We are going to have a smart gallery. This is just an example. At the end, a performance test can be on anything you can think of. In that case, it's a smart gallery that we are going to upload images. We're going to put the system under test. And we have the first part, which is the AI insights with machine learning models. Then that results, that study and clean data results, we are going to put into AI assistant. In that case, it's an LLM. And at the end, we are going to have an output that is ready to send to our client. It's readable, it's understandable, and it's perfect. The technical path is more complex, but you can understand it quite easy. We have a problem to solve, we have a how-to, and we have a solution. A problem to solve, as I said, is a smart gallery. The how-to is the performance testing. We are going to use case 6. I will say you why after. We are going to do the case load test. We are going to get the metrics. Those metrics, we are going to clean it in isolation forest. Once that data is clean, we are going to use XGBoost to analyze it. And we are going to throw it to AI analysis with an LLM. At the end, we will have a PDF ready to deliver to our client, and we are going to have the client insights. But for now, let's focus on the how-to. We're going to use case 6. How many of you used case 6 in the past, please? Not too much people. OK. Case 6, part of Grafana Labs, is used to do performance testing and load testing. So in that case, we need to think about which extra inputs or which characteristics we want to test. For example, if we have a smart gallery, the characteristics to test can be the number of virtual users. So each user that is using our platform each time, the concurrency, the parallelism, the number of images uploaded per user, and then, for example, the size, the image resolution category. This is just an example. We can put more characteristics if we wish, but for this example that I'm showing to you are these 3 characteristics that are really easy to understand. And we will have a lot of outputs. And I mean a lot of outputs. Here we only have like 5, but K6 can give us like, I think it's 75 type of outputs. We need to select which outputs of K6 are relevant for us. In that example, I will take the latency, which is the time that takes, for example, we are going to call to that API to upload the image, and we are going to have the latency of the data that is being uploaded. This is the performance part. Now we are going to see the ML analysis. So from raw performance to statistical insights. When metrics are not enough, because we are going to test the server, probably if we want to do it at home, we can have like a local server. But this is not realistic. We are going to use, I don't know, a cloud-based server. And sometimes when we are doing performance testing and we launch, I don't know, 500 tests, some tests are failing or are not giving us a good results because at that moment, maybe the server is busy. At that moment, another colleague that we said in Teams, please do not touch the backend or the server, but someone is doing something. So we will have some tests with case 6 with anomalous results. We are expecting that some test lasts 3 seconds, for example, because with the half of users was the half of time, 1 second and a half, and it's not 3 seconds, it's 6 seconds. What it happens? This is an anomaly. This is really tough to know by us, because if we are doing a really big performance testing and we are going to do a lot of performance testing, we are going to have lots and lots and lots of tests and lots of numbers. So we are going to use an ML analysis, because metrics can be noisy, as I said. Failures are not always obvious. And that hidden patterns remain undetected. And we need to clean that data before sending its study in XGBoost. So we are going to use isolation forest to cleaning the data. Isolation forest learns from patterns in metrics, quickly isolates the outliers, as I said, an anomalous data test, turns raw data into a clean data set, and we have the possibility of testing again rejected tests. Or maybe not. We just can, that test fail, and we don't want to test again. But we have that possibility with isolation forest. And this is one of the central points of the topic, is the use of XGBoost for analyzing data. It learns from structured metrics. It builds decision tree and finds patterns, handles large data sets really, really, really efficiently. You can now imagine how efficiency it is, and delivers 2 important points: the feature importance and the valuable target predictions. And from the data of case 6, let's imagine that all the tests have really good values, and we don't need isolation forest. But we are going to select the variables. The features, as I said before, were 3. Number of users concurrence, number of images each user, and the size of the image. And we have the target. The target in that case, latency. So XGBoost will give us the feature importance and predictions. Which is which? The feature importance identify which metric matters most for the related target. Relative importance depends on target, and it really helps to focus in root causes. For example, what do you think? If we are doing a performance testing, the first thing you can think is that the number of users, the number of parallelism, is really struggling the server. More users, highest latency. In the test I did, XGBoost tells us that yes, as you can see, the users is impacting the 25% of the variation of the target, but it is impacting more the number of images that the user is uploading. Sometimes XGBoost is telling us results that are not as easy to see at the first time, and it helps us to analyze. So we have the second part, which is predicting unseen scenarios. XGBoost can extrapolate from existing tests, estimate performance for untested combinations, and of course, anticipating risks before they occur. And this is why I want to show you this next slide. This is like fancy math things, but I'm going to explain you. Think about your client is telling you how this application, how this gallery is going to perform when we have 10 times more users. And each user is uploading twice images as they used to do it now, and all the images are XL. I put XL because I want to put 2 megabytes or a number, but you can like translate. When you have your model trained with XGBoost, you can ask to that model that is trained, and it can extrapolate. So for unseen scenarios, it's telling you which values. I like to use the 95% confidence interval. So in that case, we can see that the best case of the 95% is for like 4,000 milliseconds, and the worst case is 5,000 milliseconds. What is this giving us is a light to see if the client needs with the current like hardware or cloud is going or is not. Of course, this prediction will be also sent to the LLM, that we are going to see in the next step. The next step is the AI analysis. Nowadays, everything is AI. So I was last night talking with my colleagues, my speakers on the dinner, and everything is having AI. From statistical insights to actionable narratives, the AI analysis performs with an LLM. So from metrics to text, we are going to translate numbers into insights, make the results really understandable, not just for us, but also for people who doesn't have to have the knowledge. And we are going to bridge the gap between data and people. This is a quick sum up. We did the performance testing into the gallery, then isolation forest for cleaning, XGBoost, and we are here in the step just before to use the LLM. We are going to send to LLM. We are going to fit structures insights into LLM, generate natural language summary, which is the most important, and we can adapt explanation for different audiences. Do you know what a prompt is? Yes? No? Oh, OK. A prompt is what you send to an LLM like a question. Everybody is using ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or OK. So I propose in this framework to use four prompts to send to an LLM. We can use GPT, like OpenAI paid token, or we can use LM Studio or Olama if we wish. The first prompt, OK, it can be readable, are the rules. The rules are the language that we are going used to, can be English, Hungarian, or the language by itself. The format of the document. We want to take from the LLM a markdown document, and this is really important because we are going to take that markdown and export to a PDF, and then the style. In this case, the first prompt is provided by the framework. The second prompt is the structure. The number of tokens is really important if we are using a local LLM. If we are not, it doesn't matter because it's the window context of OpenAI it's really big, and we are not going to break it. But if not, the total tokens is important. And also the sections and structure of the document. This is provided by the framework. You can edit the structure of the document if you wish, but it's like explaining the issue, like an executive summary, and so on. It's like the structure of the document. Here came the most interesting prompts. The third is the context. We are going to provide this by us, which are the metrics, and also the feature explanation. The feature explanation, you know it clearly that we are the users, the images, and the size. The LLM doesn't need to know and doesn't know the image's word is the image word. So, and we need to explain. So we can adapt this for our test. If, for example, you are testing another gallery or you are testing another product, another API, here is on the third prompt, on that JSON file, when you can edit. And the last prompt is provided by the ML model, which is the outputs of the ML model XGBoost, the feature importance, and also the predictions. This is sent to an LLM, which is instruction tune, also is deterministic. We can twin the temperature of the model. We need to be deterministic and don't invent fancy things. This is not interesting for us. And we can use through GPT. For example, I tried through GPT, but if you are using Olama or you're using LM Studio, you have a Mac, I recommend you LM Studio because you can use MLX LLMs, and it's working really good. It's not a problem because they are using an OpenAI-like API. At the end, the output is a markdown format ready to send to our compiler. So here we have the final report. Log plus metrics and AI insights are coming to the LLM output, and then we are going to send it to PDF compiler. I used Python. You can use what you want. The idea is to know which data is expecting the compiler and just do some adaptations. You can use GPT or Cursor or what you want, and this is easy to tune in. For example, I add my company header, company footer. This PDF compiler, we can use the LaTeX one. I like to use one that is using HTML because it's easy. And also the font. Then we have the document. So we have automatic PDF generation, combining metrics, insights, and text, and clear and ready to share. So until now, in the classical performance testing and reporting, what we had? We had a lot of information, that's true. Probably more numbers and more graphics and more papers. The document, it will be longer, but completely disorganized. For the client. Maybe not for us, but yes for the client and for the people who need to take the actions and the people who we need to convince. Not knowing where to start and making confused customers. From now on, we will have a document to deliver that contains metadata, executive summary, test configurations, metrics overview, and the important point, the AI insights. The recommendations, because sometimes if we are looking at, if we are talking with our client and we say, OK, this cloud environment it is going to break with more people, it's OK. At the moment we say, it costs you more money, at that moment he will open his or her eyes and say, OK, what's going on? So we have the recommendations and also the limitation and notes. We are doing a document with AI. AI has his limitations, and we need to route it, or maybe take that information and make ours and do some changes if needed. So we have the full pipeline recap from raw results to clear insights, automated end-to-end workflow, but you can edit that workflow if you don't want to use K6 and you want to use another one. It's just to tune in and make a difference on the JSON files, for example. And it's faster, cleaner, and it's making you smarter decisions. So we had a smart gallery. We did system under test. And then we use two types of tools. AI insights with machine learning, isolation forest and XGBoost, and AI assistant, in that case, is an LLM. But it can be, as I said, an OpenAI or an LLM in your computer. And then we have the outputs, which is the most valuable. Of course, this is more for the client, but you can ask for that LLM to please make a really technical documentation if you want to send to your developer colleagues, to your backend, or the person who is managing the cloud. He or she probably needs that technical documentation, but not the client. So you can make different reports depending your necessities. Here you have additional resources. I will share the presentation, and I will make public the repo on my GitHub. Sorry. But here is the link. As my point of view, do not just test. Communicate, convince, and drive action. And thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Ernest. We have a few questions. Wow, let's start with the first. Does the abnormal test in the forest isolation slide also mean a failed test due to a bug? Do the valid ones also contain test failures?
OK. The isolation forest, what it's doing is cleaning the abnormal results. Probably that abnormal result is due to a bug, but we are not going to test. We are going to do a feature testing right now. We can check what makes specifically this test break, but the idea of isolation forest is to try to clean, I don't know, hundreds of data that is out of the boundaries. Yeah.
Next question. Excellent presentation, and in my opinion, a common use case. Where do you recommend to start from to establish a similar setup? So what is the starting point?
The starting point that I have was that I was on a project that they they don't think that the performance testing was as important as I think it is. If we have a lot of people that is going to use the application, you are doing the functional test. What is telling you is that the feature is working. But if we have 500, 1,000 people, it's not the same. My start point was this, try to convince the project manager to do performance testing. And I did it copying and paste in ChatGPT at that moment. But with the people who are on the dev side, we like to spend 3 hours to do an action that it costs just 1 click. And this is the idea, to have a sort of automating path from the test results until the final PDF. Yes.
OK, next question. Can you share an example on how different the conversation with the client now is with the new AI-assisted output?
OK, let's imagine that, for example, in some weeks, I think, we were having the Black Friday, right?
Yep.
And the client has that Shopify or that store, and he wants to sell things. Probably, if we want to tell the client, you need to pay more, you need to invest more money because Black Friday is near, right? And a lot of people is going to use your application, and you need to have a stronger. And we are going to sell him with raw data, like the latency and the percentiles and so on. He probably thinks, OK, maybe I don't want to invest that. It's depending on your power of conviction. If you are good sellers, it's OK. If not, here is when AI is giving you the solution. In that case, with the new AI-assisted output, he will know exactly, OK, with your behavior in the future, this is going to fail. And at the end, you are going to lose sales and lose money, of course.
OK, we have time for 2 more questions. So please vote up the questions you would like to hear about. Let's see Martin's question. How did this change the collaboration in your company regarding performance tests? So how did it change the collaboration?
It was a before and after, because at the end, to have a document that everyone can understand and is speaking at your same language and at your same level is making you a huge difference. When you have a business, you want to have the information clearly, not technical in that case, and what is making the action, the actionable insights. So.
OK, last question from Bayus. What testing framework do you suggest for performance testing for companies who want to start performance testing but don't know what tools to use or choose?
OK. I really like K6. I'm not going to give you a commercial of K6. I tried JMeter. I don't like Java. That's the first point. I don't like JMeter. But K6, the good point is not stressing you too much your computer when you are going to do the tests. And this is the most important when you are using JMeter, or at least when I used it some years ago, it really puts a lot of stress. And sometimes you are having more stress on your computer than on the server, and it's not making any sense. Also, the last thing is that K6 now is with Grafana. We can use the exporter, and we can have also the observability on the panels. So it's a win-win. Yeah.
OK, another warm round of applause for Ernest for his first speech on stage. Congrats. You set the tone. You can see the audience is happy. So yeah. Thanks a lot.